Sign language tonight is Monica Achieng's an episode of Lessons from an Entrepreneur coming up shortly with Waithera Gaido shedding light on some of the key lessons that any growing entrepreneur should take note of. You don't want to miss that. Go ahead and text us on 22232 or send us those business ideas and questions on our WhatsApp number. You can also send your comments on social media pages on Hope TV Kenya, on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Before then, here are the stories making headlines tonight. Our religious leaders in the country have voiced their support for the regulation of churches in the country, noting that it will weed out fraudsters who have continued to infiltrate the places of worship disguised as religious leaders. Speaking during a panel discussion during the launch of the booklet dubbed Code of Conduct and Governance Guidelines for the Church in Kenya, during an event in Nairobi, the Anglican Church of Kenya Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit noted that the guidelines aim at holding religious organizations accountable and securing basic principles that respect the right of worship.
Today,
the Hesabika Trust Organization, in collaboration with the Evangelical Alliance of Kenya EAK and various religious stakeholders, have today officially launched the Code of Conduct and Governance Guidelines
of fellowship and congratulate the men.
Speaking during a panel discussion focusing on religious guidance in the country, ACK Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit said the launch is a product of consultations from church leaders aimed at strengthening the church's management of religious freedom and protecting them from internal and external threats such as the recent massacre of Shakahola.
Today, we can speak in one voice as a church, and we can project the gospel of Jesus Christ in a way that people will come to the faith, not through coercion, not through any other means, but speaking and preaching the word of truth. And that's what we commit ourselves to do, and we commit ourselves to abide by the regulations, especially on how we carry ourselves as leaders.
The leaders, however, have supported the regulation of churches and encouraged church leaders across the country to register under an umbrella body of church organizations.
We have to accept the regulation. When we are regulated, we are able to serve knowing that there is an authority above us. And so all different churches and different umbrellas are going to register themselves. We are going to register ourselves to be under different umbrellas, like I am at the EAK, and I'm proud to be.
The chairperson of EACC and CITAM Bishop Emeritus David Oginde said the regulations will provide guidelines that can comply with the law as well as evangelical criteria.
And it's a very generic kind of code of conduct that only gives the principles of good governance, good leadership, good management within a church, so that some of the things that we have been seeing that is causing society anxiety about the church, that is causing government to want to regulate the church, can be dealt with in a way that is in line with the biblical teaching, and so that we are not regulated by other laws that would undermine the preaching of the gospel.
On his part, Pastor Benson Omondi challenged believers to be cautious while joining churches and protect themselves from false religion, while at the same time keeping church institutions accountable.
Okay, there are many things that divide us, even as a nation. But also we know there are things that bring us together. One of the things that, if you ask me today, that really sort of bring us together is the Word of God. And therefore, a genuine believer who wants to grow in the knowledge of God, I would encourage them to still look for a Bible-believing church. It's not all lost. They could have gone there and been deceived. But for you to be able to know the truth, you must first of all interact with the truth.
Reporting for TV Newswatch, I'm Gloria Musimbi.
Meanwhile, the 17-member committee, chaired by former National Council of Churches of Kenya Secretary General Mutava Musyimi, is expected to submit to President William Ruto a report on the 1st of November that will be adopted to guide the operation of religious institutions in Kenya. EAK Chairman Philip Kitoto, who is part of the Presidential Task Force on the review of the legal and regulatory framework governing religious institutions, said that they are currently in the drafting process after collecting views from the public. Other roles assigned to the task force include identifying gaps and proposing legal and governance changes to prevent religious extremism.
Children in particular who are vulnerable have to be cared for and protected. All those principles are found here. there's a section on the rule of law in this code because the church members and also the church as a whole commits to abide by the law of the land, and where the law of the land contains provisions that are contrary to the spirit of the Bible and the church, then the church will work with other partners to improve on the law of the land so that it can align with the law of God.
Generally, there's an overwhelming desire that we have an orderly church because God is an orderly God. When I look at the issues that we have, that they are tackled in this book, in this booklet, I think they are going to be very helpful. It may be surprising that some of them could end up being some of the things we are thinking about in terms of the task force. So I expect that the chairman of the task force, our brother Mutava Musimi, the honorable member, will be able to bring it to the president by the 1st of November. That's when our mandate will be over. So right now we are in the drafting process after listening to our citizens and all the members of and pastors and bishops. So we are now drafting and now coming up with the first draft and then second draft, and then be able to finally get a report that we can give to the president by the 1st of November.
President William Ruto has maintained that his resolve to fight corruption in the country is unstoppable, stating that his recent calls for action should not be mistaken for threats. Speaking at the Kakamega State Lodge during a consultative meeting led by Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula, the president warned those who use politics and the courts to protect themselves that their time is up. He said Kenya has suffered immensely due to corruption, theft and wastage of public resources, and insisted that the corrupt must toe the line or be punished. Concerning cartels in the sugar sector, the president pledged to take the fight in the sector dogged by cartels to protect the country from the high cost of importation of sugar, and proposed the setting up of more sugarcane mills to support the existing ones in sugar production.
Kenya has suffered immensely because of corruption, wastage, and theft. We cannot continue to entertain corruption, wastage, and theft in whatever name. We cannot continue to entertain. We need to have a break. And the corrupt, those who are used to stealing public resources, those who use politics to protect thieves and the corrupt, those who have big friends in big places, I want to announce that their time is up. I am actually shocked that anybody in Kenya, any person in Kenya can defend corruption, can defend wastage, can defend what has made this country go backwards. The sugar industry here imezama kwa sababu tunaleta pesa ya serikali, mabilioni inapotea. Tunaleta pesa ndio hiyo, tunauliza lipa wakulima, sijui lipa wafanyikazi. Hapana, it cannot continue like that. Ama namna gani jameni? Hii ufisadi mnataka tuchezee Lingala naye? Hii ufisadi tumalizane naye watu, so that we have a country that is leading from the front. Ama namna gani jameni? So those who doubt my resolve on matters to do with fighting corruption, they better check again.
Elsewhere, GEM Member of Parliament Elisha Odhiambo has called on President William Ruto to extend the crackdown he has initiated in the sugar sector to the energy sector. Odhiambo lamented that the cartels in the sector, if not tackled, will see the economy collapse due to high electricity tariffs that make life unbearable. Grace Ahati reports.
Days after President William Ruto publicly vowed to deal with cartels frustrating the growth of sugar subsector in the country, GEM Member of Parliament Elisha Odhiambo has come out to urge him to extend the same to the energy sector. Speaking at GEM Wagai Deputy County Commissioner's office, where he disbursed 12.9 million shillings bursaries from GEM Constituency Development Fund to over 2,890 beneficiaries, Odhiambo noted that if the issue is not tackled, the country's economy will eventually collapse due to high electricity tariffs.
I want to encourage the president, the way he has started dealing with the sugar cartels, let him equally deal with the electricity generating cartels led by Lake Turkana wind power.
At the same time, Odhiambo blamed the recent nationwide power blackout on the cartels that did not want the government to rein in on their high appetite for abnormal profits due to skewed contracts. The GEM legislator, who is also a member of the National Assembly's Energy Committee, said that any attempt by cartels to frustrate the efforts to bring down the cost of electricity will come to a stop, as legislators were committed to easing the burden that Kenyans have to bear due to the high cost of electricity.
These cartels, led by Lake Turkana, decided that that night they want to show us that whatever we are doing will come to naught. So the whole country was taken to darkness. I want to ask them, whatever they do, the reduction in the price of electricity must come to fruition, so that the ordinary Kenyan can have a reasonable lifestyle.
Odhiambo further called on the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission (EACC) to speed up investigations into alleged corruption scandals in Siaya County government. According to him, Siaya residents were expecting action from the commission, with about 10 corruption files pending before the commission.
When you come to Siaya, the only thing you see is a small building. Today at the top, the doctors want to go on strike. Why? Because the county assembly of Siaya, they didn't pass the budget on time. They didn't pass the budget on? They are busy with non-issue, like impeaching Governor Ruto.
Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Grace Ahati.
That report. And the National Dialogue Committee has now been formally established after the delegation leaders signed the agreed framework to entrench the 10-member team and its deliberations in law. Led by Azimio delegation leader Kalonzo Musyoka and his Kenya Kwanza counterpart Kimani Ichung'wah, the team said it is now ready to hit the road running and find solutions to political issues facing the country, which often result in strife after the general elections. The committee now has 60 days to deliberate and come up with a report and/or include bills initiating a review of various pieces of laws. It has listed 5 major issues of deliberation, namely outstanding constitutional matters, electoral justice and related matters, entrenching funds into the constitution, establishment and entrenchment of state offices, and fidelity to political parties or coalitions, and the law on multi-party democracy.
We have made tremendous progress. Wahenga ndio walisema ukiona vielea ujue vimeundwa. So a lot of work has been done. Ndio sasa vitu vimeanza kuelea. We want to encourage Kenyans to continue to have faith in this team. We thank our technical teams. And indeed we thank our both houses of Parliament, the National Assembly and the Senate, because they have now given their unanimous approval and support to the work of this team.
We have also agreed on the statement of issues that we shall be deliberating on as a dialogue committee or as a national dialogue committee. We have also resolved that we shall be extending invitations to stakeholders and members of the public to present their memorandums to the committee.
Now let's take a fast short break here on Hope TV Newswatch, beg your pardon. Remember, our conversation on lessons from an entrepreneur is coming up shortly. Do send your questions, comments and insights to our social media pages, Hope TV Kenya and Facebook and Twitter. and on our SMS number 22232. We will be back with more news items shortly.
Love Nairobi Festival with evangelist Andrew Palau is coming to Nairobi. All are welcome at this free event. 3 days of great music with Don Moen, Pompi, Evelyn Wanjiru, and more of Kenya's best artists. Bring the kids to the family fun zone, see high-flying motorcycle and BMX bicycle demonstrations. Love Nairobi Festival, 15th to 17th September at the University of Nairobi Sports Grounds. Friday, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. More details at lovenairobifestival.org. It's free.
I've actually been trying to find a balance. It's been really tough and hectic, but everyone says once you get a hang of it, it becomes better, and I don't know, but I'm hoping to find a balance soon because it's really been hectic. But you've been in the job industry for a long time, so I think you would know better. Sindio?
Huh? What time is it? I need to catch up on Leadership Forum. Did they have a radio here? Never mind. I brought my own.
No way. You can't be serious. Wait, why do you have a radio and you can just catch up with the shows on Hope FM podcasts?
Really? Even Meet of the One?
Yeah. I mean, you can find them on whatever platform, name it. AfriPods, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it.
But I'm not subscribed on any of them.
So no worries. You can just check out the latest episodes on hopemediakenya.org.
You can now listen to select Hope FM programs on your favorite podcast streaming platform or directly on our website, www.hopemediakenya.org. Listen and live.
Back. The Meteorological Department is predicting that most parts of the country will experience enhanced rainfall between October to December this year, with the rainfall being fairly distributed in some areas and well distributed in others in both time and space. According to the weatherman, this will be driven by warmer than average sea surface temperatures over the central and eastern equatorial Pacific Ocean, indicating the presence of El Niño conditions. And as Alice Dana reports, the forecasted enhanced rainfall during the months of October to December, short rain season, is expected to have both negative and positive impacts across various sectors.
With the country expected to receive El Nino rains from October to December this year, the Kenya Meteorological Department has warned that some parts of the country will have high chances of experiencing floods and landslides.
From my very left is...
The Meteorological Department named a number of counties with a 99% likelihood of experiencing high rainfall.
During the October, November, December 2023, it is expected that most parts of the country will experience enhanced, that is above average rainfall that will be fairly distributed in some parts of the country and well distributed in others, both in time and space.
According to the forecast, the expected rainfall in the Lake Victoria Basin, highlands west of the Rift Valley and Central and South Rift Valley is likely to be above the long-term average amounts for the season, with the peak of the season being in November. Turkana and Samburu counties are likely to experience occasional rainfall during the season, while rainfall amounts in Nyandarua, Nyeri, Kirinyaga, Murang'a, Kiambu, Laikipia East, Meru, Embu, Tharaka Nithi, and Nairobi are expected to be above the season's long-term average. The expected rainfall amount in Kitui, Makueni, Machakos, Taita Taveta, and Kajiado counties are likely to be above the long-term average for the season.
When it comes to the time we expect the cessation, we find that the rains will go up to December, and there are exceptions where we expect the season to flow into January 2024. These include northeastern parts, the highlands west of the Rift Valley.
The forecast further indicates that rainfall during the months of October to December short rain season is expected to have both negative and positive impacts across various sectors. The negative impacts include the risk of flood and erosion, the spread of pests and diseases posing threat to crops and livestock, spoilage and rotting of crops during pre- and post-harvest due to excess moisture, and increased weed growth. The positive impacts include enhanced agricultural performance, nutritional gains, water harvesting, conservation of water and soil, and enhanced water infrastructure. Relevant authorities have been encouraged to activate contingency plans to enhance preparedness and response. Alice Diana, Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you, Alice, for that report. Attorney General Justin Muturi now says that the country lacks sufficient laws to curb activities of fraud and safeguard Kenyans' privacy. While appearing before the parliamentary committee probing the WorldCoin saga, the Attorney General acknowledged that WorldCoin has been operating in the country illegally as it is not registered under the Business Registration Service BRS database as a business company. Addressing the ad hoc committee chaired by Narok West Member of Parliament Gabriel Tongoyo, Muturi added that there is need for better consumer and data protection. Tess Njenga now reports.
Application of the law. So,
Attorney General Justin Muturi today appeared before the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee probing the activities of the WorldCoin cryptocurrency company, which was banned in the country at the height of registration of Kenyans who were attracted to its financial perks. Muturi underscored the need for the country to amend its laws so as to safeguard Kenyans from fraudulent activities that infringe on privacy, such as the WorldCoin saga.
I want to say that the laws we have are not sufficient. They are inadequate, and it's for that reason that my team will be delving into that to explain that there is a proposal from the National Treasury working in conjunction with the Central Bank and the Office of the Data Commissioner, and I think the ICT Ministry, to set up a task force to examine the whole area of digital currencies in this country and our level of preparedness.
While attempting to provide the legal status of the cryptocurrency project in accordance with the law, Attorney General Justin Muturi said that there is a proposal from the National Treasury to set up a task force to examine digital currencies in the country.
The need to protect Kenyans within the area of consumer protection law. I do know that even when we passed that act, consumer protection, perhaps we may not have thought about this new area, and therefore I think that informs the reason why the National Treasury takes the lead in proposing the setting up of a task force to deal with the whole issue, the whole area of cryptocurrency and within the space of data protection and consumer protection. So I would want to agree with the Honorable KJ Kerry that actually the laws we have are not sufficient.
The Attorney General further informed the committee, being chaired by Narok West Member of Parliament Gabriel Tongoyo, that there is a need to deal with data and consumer protection laws, adding that innovators have constantly been ahead of regulators.
If it is business, that is a function of a saga under the Aegis Office, which is the BRS, the Business Registration Service. And you see, quite apart from complying with the requirements under the Companies Act, the registrar will really not will not investigate. They will just, if you comply, you present your documents and you are found to be in compliance, the registrar will just process your documents and issue you the registration certificate. And therefore, when it comes to operationalization of that which has been registered, again, once the registrar has registered you, it's up to you to begin your operations. It moves now from the registrar's office to the other actors, be it the National Treasury, the police, the data commissioner, depending on the area of business that you'll have been registered in.
This as it was further revealed that WorldCoin cryptocurrency project, alongside another company named Tools for Humanity, have been operating in the country illegally as they are not registered under the Business Registration Service BRS database. The State Counsel for the Office of the Attorney General had a difficult time trying to interpret registration laws that mandate foreign companies be registered in compliance with the Data Protection Act and Companies Act. The ad hoc committee chair added that more witnesses will be appearing before the committee till Monday next week to shed more light on lingering questions. Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Tess Njenga.
Honorable Kaluma also did ask.
And the spouse of Deputy President Rigaki Gachagua, Pastor Dorcas Rigaki, has launched the Mombasa Medical Camp that targets those addicted to alcohol, drugs and substance abuse in the county. The camp was launched at the Railways Dispensary Shimanzi in Mombasa County and comes after Pastor Dorcas visited the drug dens of Mombasa County in May this year and interacted with the addicts. Speaking during the launch, Pastor Dorcas called for collaborative efforts among all stakeholders to dignify the lives of the addicts. A similar camp is set to be launched in Miritini area later this week. The county government of Mombasa, through the chief officer in charge of health, Abdullah Daleno, promised to work together with the office of the spouse of the deputy president in implementing projects that target the youth at the coastal county, pointing out some of the ongoing projects.
Kwamba hawa kaka zetu na dada zetu si wahalifu. Badala yake tunagundua kwamba ni wagonjwa na ni wagonjwa ambao wanahitaji matibabu, wanahitaji mapenzi, wanahitaji kukumbatiwa, na labda katika hali hiyo tunaweza tukawabadilisha nia na mawazo yao na kuwapa mwelekeo mpya wa kimaisha.
Now that we are in this calamity, we are really prepared to make sure that our boys are all engaged at all times. So we have a program for Mombasa Yangu which has taken a lot of other boys who are members of the boys here, but also because of the engagement, they do not have much time to go and indulge into drug use. So we are really trying to do something.
We can no longer have a nation or afford to sit pretty and assume somewhere, somebody will save our children. There is nobody who is going to come from abroad to save these children. It is you and I. It is our responsibility as Kenyans, as Africans, to save the African boy, the African child. It is our future. It is not the responsibility of anybody else. It is our responsibility.
Nimetumia madarati kwa zaidi ya miaka 18 na mimi ni mkazi wa Kinjaro na niko maeneo ya Shimanzi area. Na tunaregesha shukurani kwa mambo mama aliyotufanyia siku ya leo, kwa matibabu aliyopata na mengine aliyotufanyia, na pia na imani pia yale mengine aliyotuahidi atatutimizia. Kuna promise alizotuambia na kweli tumeziona kwa macho yetu, na alituahidi kuwa atarudi. Alikuja mara ya kwanza akatuahidi atarudi na kule amerudi, na tuamregeshia shukrani zake kwa wale aliyotufanyia. Na hata hapa pia si sawa na viongozi wengine walituambia watakuja na hawakurudi. Kwa hivyo pia tuna imani na yeye bado ataendelea kutukumbuka.
Now the Gabon army has overthrown President Ali Bongo days after his re-election. On national television, a group of senior army leaders said they had placed Bongo under house arrest and surrounded by his family and doctors. The army leaders announced the cancellation of the results of the August 28th elections and the closure of the country's borders until further notice. They also announced the dissolution of the government, the National Assembly, the Senate, and the Constitutional Court. Appearing in a video, the deposed president appealed for international support even as thousands of Gabonians took to the streets in the capital Libreville to celebrate his ouster.
I'm Ali Bongo Ondimba, President of Gabon, and I'm to send a message to all the friends that we have all over the world to tell them to make noise, For the people here have arrested me and my family. My son is somewhere, my wife is in another place, and I'm at the residence. Right now, I'm in the residence and nothing is happening. I don't know what's going on. So I'm calling you to make noise, really. I'm thanking you. Thank you.
Let's now shift gears for our conversation with entrepreneurs. To discuss this is Waidera Gaido, the founder and director of Alternatives Africa. She'll be sharing some of the insights on how to create lasting businesses and what entrepreneurs should know as they go about setting up their ventures. This coming up shortly.
Love Nairobi Festival with evangelist Andre Palau is coming to Nairobi. All are welcome at this free event. 3 days of great music with Don Moen, Ponky, Evelyn Wanjiru, and more of Kenya's best artists. Bring the kids to the family fun zone, see high-flying motorcycle and BMX bicycle demonstrations. Love Nairobi Festival, 15th to 17th September at the University of Nairobi Sports Grounds. Friday, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. More details at lovenairobifestival.org. It's free.
Thank you for consistently tuning in to watch and listen to our content both on Hope TV and Hope FM. You are the reason why we are on air. The CBS Family Service now comes to you every Sunday at 4 p.m. on Hope TV, Hope FM, and on Sitam Church Online.
The Holy Spirit will empower our prayer lives.
Our mission is to know God and to make Him known through evangelism and discipleship.
CBS Family Service on Hope FM and Hope TV, where you look and live.
Yesu ndiye njia.
Mtoto gani katika hii ulimwengu ameitwa Mungu mkuu?
Nasema akasema udhu billahi.
Hata leo usisema udhu billahi, tafadhali usikize.
Yesu ndiye njia. Uchambuzi wa masuala tata katika Biblia na vitabu vingine vya kidini.
No, we don't believe that Christ was crucified. Christ was taken right to heaven by 4 angels, 4 archangels.
Kama Muhammad ndiye alikuwa wa kwanza kuleta dini ya Kiislamu na alikuja after Jesus, sasa inawezekanaje Ibrahimu awe Muislamu, Musa awe Muislamu?
Yesu ndiye njia. Mjadala wa moja kwa moja kati ya walimu wa Kikristo na dini zingine.
Wanasema Mwenyezi Mungu ana mtoto. Jambo hilo wanasema limeleta jambo ambalo linachukiza.
Siri ya Mungu ambaye Mungu amejidhihirisha katika mili. Hii yote ni ukafiri.
Mmefanya makosa makubwa sana kusema kwamba Isa ibn Maryam ni Mungu wa pili na Allah ambaye ameumba mbingu na ardhi mkasema ni Mungu wa tatu.
Yesu ndiye njia. Jumamosi kuanzia saa 1:30 jioni kwenye runinga uipendayo ya Hope TV.
The Asian community in Kenya has been nationally recognized as the 44th tribe of the people of this great nation.
For me, God is real in Christianity. I talk to Him, He talks to me. I fail, He forgives me.
When I first read the first book of Genesis, it gave me an orderly sense of accounts of creation. Day 1 is what He does. Day 2, He creates this. Day 3.
Every third Thursday of the month, we bring you Asia Testify,
where we will be listening to life-transforming stories of Asian believers who have walked with the Lord. Only here on Hope TV. Look and live.
I've actually been trying to find a balance. It's been really tough and hectic, but everyone says once you get a hang of it, becomes better, and I don't know, but I'm hoping to find a balance soon because it's really been hectic. But you've been in the job industry for a long time, so I think you would know better. Single.
Huh? What time is it? I need to catch up on Leadership Forum. Do they have a radio here? Never mind. I brought my own.
No way. You can't be serious. Wait, why do you have a radio and you can just catch up with the shows on Hope FM podcast?
Really? Even Meet of the One?
Yeah. I mean, you can find them on whatever platform, name it. AfriPods, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it.
But I'm not subscribed on any of them.
So no worries. You can just check out the latest episodes on hopemediakenya.org.
You can now listen to select Hope FM programs on your favorite podcast streaming platform or directly on our website, www.hopemediakenya.org. Listen and live.
Welcome to this segment where we are doing lessons from an entrepreneur. Listen, while setting up your business, normally a thrilling idea when you start, but sustaining it past the initial challenges of seed capital, structure, small profit margins can be quite daunting. Most entrepreneurs have considered shutting down, others have opted out and considered other ventures. Well, tonight we will delve into some of these conversations with Waithera Gaitho, the founder and executive director of Alternatives Africa, to share some of the lessons that we need to learn and glean as we venture into the entrepreneurship journey. Welcome, Waithera Gaitho.
Thank you very much.
Perhaps as a way of introduction, you have just mentioned that there's a difference between an entrepreneur and a trader.
Yes.
So what does Alternatives actually do with regard to that, with the entrepreneur?
Okay, so first and foremost, thank you for having me here. It's always a great opportunity to speak about young entrepreneurs, youth entrepreneurship. So just for some context and background on Alternatives, Alternatives is an accelerator for youth-owned micro and small enterprises. Mm-hmm. And what we have done is created what we call a youth enterprise development infrastructure, that we call it an affordable system. Our mission is actually to contribute to enterprise development for socioeconomic transformation. And we want to do that by building globally competitive brands. Mm-hmm. Now, you've asked me about a trader and an entrepreneur.
Oh, yes.
So a trader is basically someone who trades anything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for them, they'll buy milk. It's like a kiosk. Mm-hmm. I buy milk, I sell to you. Yeah. At best, what I do is make it convenient that it's next to your house. Mm. An entrepreneur is a person who sees an opportunity. Yeah. Or a person who sees a problem and wants to solve it. Rather, in fact, not an opportunity, sees a gap that can be filled and wants to solve or fill that gap for a reward known as profit.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the social entrepreneur, it's not just about the reward of profit, but also to make an impact. Yeah. So one of our greatest challenges is that, as I was telling you, we are getting into entrepreneurship with the mindset of where do I make money? And that's why it's not working. Now, there are two kinds of entrepreneurs, at least in the African context. You've got the necessity entrepreneur, and you've got the opportunity entrepreneur. A necessity entrepreneur is the person who has not gotten a job, but they see a gap or they see a problem, and they say, let me solve this as I wait to get a job. So regardless of whether this business will do well or not, they'll act, the moment they get the job, they let go of it because their intention was just to do it while I wait. But an opportunity entrepreneur is in it for a vision fulfilled. Yeah. And so for that reason, for them, they are willing to go the long haul.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell us about how you go about identifying these entrepreneurs that you work with, and the mindset that somebody has when they do any business, for example, for 2-3 years. It's not making profit as much. It's not making sense economically, and so they let it go. How do you come in?
Okay. So Alternatives is 9 years old. And Alternatives, I started Alternatives as a youth. Yeah. And it was not my idea. My academic and professional background is not private sector. It was purely assignment. God said, and I went. And what I will say is this, and maybe they will not be happy to hear this. The first and foremost, you need to first be clear as a Christian, what does God want you to do? Yeah. If you send yourself, you will have to sustain yourself because God's provision is for his vision. Yeah. Now, I will also say that for every generation, yeah, every generation has a challenge. And rather, every generation has an assignment. And that assignment poses as a challenge. For this generation, it's unemployment. Because, of course, as the statistics show us, we are not creating enough, we don't have enough entrepreneurs creating enough jobs to uptake, the numbers of people being released into the labor market.
Yes.
However, that also shows that there's a lot of opportunities. I like to say that we are drowning in an ocean of opportunity. Yeah. However, you cannot look for opportunities based on which one will help me make money because you're sending yourself. That has nothing to do with God because when God created you, he gave you purpose and he equipped you for that purpose. So it's like a cup trying to be a plate and saying it's because plates are making money, so let me be a plate. But you're designed to be a cup.
Of course, now when you start speaking like that, people start asking, so how do I go about identifying what should I then do? Because see, we are a net total of what we see around us. For example, you see a young boy waking up and saying, I want to be like a tout, a makanga, because that is what perhaps his environment has conditioned him to see. So how do I go about identifying this is what I should be doing? This is what I should be driving myself and my passion and my efforts towards?
Melissa, did I also say that I'm a youth enterprise evangelist? Look, it's about kingdom identity, kingdom purpose, and kingdom influence. Simply put, you are not supposed to conform to the patterns of this world. Okay? And someone will wonder, what does this have to do with business? It is because you are created equipped to do something. And you have already, God has a roadmap, a plan, a purpose for good to give you a future and to give you hope. When you align to that, you can rest assured he already knows who you need to meet, where you need to. He's equipped you with the mind. He gives you the power to make wealth. So, for example, if I go to back to Alternatives, Alternatives is an ecosystem for young entrepreneurs. When I say it's an ecosystem, it's open to any young entrepreneur. We started at community level. Yes. To be precise, Kamulu, with young, actually we started with all youth, then we realized it's better to focus on young entrepreneurs for reasons which may be some other time. So we can stick to the topic. And then they said, okay, fine. You've taught us business. Our minds are transformed. Yeah, we feel more confident. We see value in who we are, first and foremost. Because if you don't see value in who you are, I don't see how you'd add value to a product. Yeah. However, how will we get money? And we were like, oh, there's Wezo Fund, there's Youth Fund, and etc. They said, no. If that's what you're coming to tell us, no.
Hence
because of the processes.
Hence the problem of capital. People keep saying, I want to start this biashara and I have no seed capital to start it off.
Precisely. So we started a circle. I'll save you the details of starting up a youth circle. Then when we had the youth circle, we go to Dandora and we are doing a training. We have a training called the Alternatives Community Entrepreneurship and Employability Training. And this training had kids living in the streets who are in business and graduates in the same class. They all have the same problem. They don't understand business, basically business skills. And they told us, okay, now you've taught us. And we realized what they were doing. They would hide their books when they were coming. And so we asked, why do people pocket your... They said, people can't know that we are coming to class. Especially if we are not being paid, what are we trying to prove?
Oh, wow.
So we realized that young entrepreneurs need their own community. They need a place where they encourage each other, where they exchange information, where they can transact, you know. And there we formed the Alternatives Intercounty Young Entrepreneurs and Professionals Association.
So to borrow from that, you're saying then, an entrepreneur standing alone by themselves will most likely not succeed or not even make the...
Let me tell you, it's an uphill. Entrepreneurship, there is no man who's an island. That is why it's called a value chain. It's a chain of different people adding value at different nodes. So one is producing, another one is processing, another one is packaging, another one is purchasing. You see, so we all need each other. And you need to know where you're most valuable. And you need to be in a space whereby you're all being able to identify what are your opportunities and what are your challenges. So for that reason, we also have the youth economic dialogues, where young people in business are able to come together with the private sector and senior people in government and be able to discuss policy, legislation, and regulation.
So most of the times that we find people coming together would be in settings like SACCO or, you know, in a chama where you're coming together to put in money together. And once that purpose is over, we pass.
Yes.
And networking forums are high-end, so to speak. We, you know, classify them as high-end things, you know, and yeah. So talk about that a bit more, especially on the need to network, not only for money purposes, but for also growth and opportunities and, you know.
Now, if we look at networking, there's something I read, and it might discourage many people from networking, but that's not the point. If you network, for those who've networked for a long time, for years, many people do. If you took all those cards you collected in those networking meetings, and you said, from this one, I made $10, from this one, I made $500, at the end of the day, after you tabulate, how much have you made from each and every one of those business cards? It's unfortunate, but more often than not, it can even be zero. So networking without purpose is a problem. You just don't go looking for, you might as well stand in the street and tell, give me your business card. Because at the end of the day, you have to be intentional. And that is why we created an ecosystem. Because in an ecosystem, you have time, it's sustainable. You have time to get to know each other. Right now, we have entrepreneurs who we can literally measure their growth over 8 years, because all these platforms are, by the way, at least 8 years old. The SACCO is 8 years, the IEPA, and then there's the AgroHub, because agriculture is the one that will create most employment. You know, you need a farmer 3 times a day, regardless of who you are, at least 3 times a day. Anything else, maybe even once in a lifetime. So what I would tell young people to do is this, and especially because we're in a Christian station, you need to discover what are your gifts, your skills, and your talent. I'm going to tell you, Melissa, that we ignore that which God has already given to us because it comes so easy, and someone told us we are meant to suffer, you know? So you braid so well, but you don't want to braid because it's not the in thing to braid. Yet if you take that braiding and come up with a nice product, which these days you can learn from YouTube, a good name, brand, register it as a business name. So that 5 years from now, you can say, my business is 5 years old. And then you'll also have an account, a business account. Join a circle, get into an organized system. Because then, for example, even though Alternatives is an accelerator, it's also an aggregator. So when we aggregate young people, because of the economies of scale, we are able to get you better deals. Because we are going as a group. If you have a challenge, we are able to address it for you guys as a group. But if you go to government one,
it's hard, very hard.
It's hard.
It's actually
yes,
impossible.
You get so frustrated. But we've solved challenges for young people through Alternatives. Alternatives also sits in the Kenya Private Sector Alliance. It sits in the Agricultural Sector Network. It also sits in the Finance, Trade, and
Investment
Network, FinTriNet, you know. And we've been part of these ecosystems, for example, KEPSA for 8 years, you know, and speaking and advocating for the young entrepreneur. And yes, it's been hard. Today, KEPSA does have a youth department, you know.
Wow.
ASNET also has a youth consideration, even in their strategic plans in the African agenda, you know. However, this is the challenge. We have to get organized, Melissa. We have to look at what is my gifting. If you look at any community, they have certain giftings. If you look at every individual, they have certain giftings. If you look at every country, they have certain giftings. It's called your comparative advantage. So if you want to start a business, they say, yes, you can get money from your friends, from your family, you know, and I'm not going to say fools, but I've already said it, you know. People who will say, you know what, I know I'll not get this money, but here, jaribu, because it's about experience, you know. But at the end of the day, business is about, am I solving a problem? It's about, how am I going to be a solution and be rewarded as a solution? If you're only thinking of how I'm going to make money, imagine you'll just go around, because when this wind blows this way, you will go. That's where money, you remember the quail thing? Then you stop, you go this way, now it's avocados. Unfortunately, unlike quails, they take years to grow, you know. So by the time yours are growing, they flooded the market, and Kenya is not the only country with avocado, you know. So you have to look at what has God equipped you with, because he already knows how you will make it. This platform right now, of course, the circle, you have to follow the bylaws, there are certain processes, but IEPA is just adding your name, it's free, because we see the value. We have hundreds of thousands and millions transacted in that group.
Awesome. I have a couple of questions here. Somebody, Caroline from Eldoret, asking, how can entrepreneurs overcome challenges like the recent blackouts? You know, that's, you know, shut us down for 24 hours. So how do we go navigating some of those challenges that are kind of beyond what we are possibly able to do? Are they beyond us, really?
You know, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us.
Amen.
So now, if we look, for example, at the blackout, one of the greatest ways we can circumnavigate that is solar energy. But the question is it available? I don't know that you have noticed in the last few days, young people selling solar, panels and all that, you know, you strike the iron while it's still hot, you know. But you have to look for other alternative, affordable ways. Is that available to everyone? It depends on your pocket. And that's why we tell young people, be part of a cooperative. And I'm very happy that the government is pushing that. Because, for example, like our circle, you save 35 bob per day. Right now, we are giving loans of up to 300,000. We started with 20,000. We started saving with 20 bob. We have money borrowed. Our loan book is now at 700,000. We have no investor or donor money. No, this is young people, 20 bob yako, 20 bob yangu, 20 bob yangu. And that's why I believe in the young entrepreneur. Because like there's a girl who has progressively borrowed over 280,000 to build her school. And we have seen her students increase, you know. But she did not sit to all the time you're looking for big money. Start. What has God put in your hands? One, for sure, he has a skill and a gift for you. Number two, if he gave it to you, he knew how it can be financed. The thing is, start small. Start that mustard seed and allow it to grow. But if you're looking for quick make money schemes, I honestly,
you will fail.
I will disappoint. There is no response for that.
This conversation can really go on and on. Thank you so much, Waithera Gaido, the founder and director of Alternatives Africa, for this conversation that we have had. We probably will call you back to talk a bit more about how young people can tap into what you have on Alternatives and see how they can grow themselves past the 2-3 years of starting a business and thinking, I'm going to fail on this one. But you can hold their hand until they're at least 5-7 years, 8, and so on. Then they can see maybe our small biasharas can grow into enterprises. Thank you for coming.
And just to mention that, as I told you, we target young people between the age of 18 and 40. So if you join us at 18, you are part of an ecosystem for 22 years. Yeah. So we work with you. And even when you turn 40, you become a friend of Alternatives. So you're forever in it.
Yes,
yeah?
yes.
So yes, there's a way out and there's opportunity, and they can check us out on our website. And if they reach out to you, we can. Yes.
Thank you so much. We'll take a short break right now, then we'll be back with the day's sports.
Love Nairobi Festival with evangelist Andrew Palau is coming to Nairobi. All are welcome at this free event. 3 days of great music with Don Moen, Pompi, Evelyn Wanjiru, and more of Kenya's best artists. Bring the kids to the family fun zone, see high-flying motorcycle and BMX bicycle demonstrations. Love Nairobi Festival, 15th to 17th September at the University of Nairobi Sports Grounds. Friday, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. More details at lovenairobifestival.org. It's free.
The sports now. KCB FC is gearing up for an intense showdown as they kick off the 2023-2024 FKF Premier League season against Ingwe this coming Friday at the Moi International Sports Centre, Kasarani. The much anticipated match not only marks the start of a new football season, but also sets off Bernard Mwalala's legacy as he debuts as the Bankers head coach. As the new season kicks off, the Bankers will be banking on the new additions as well as revamped technical bench to turn last season's disappointment, where they finished 5th and fight for top honors in all competitions.
Preparation zetu kama team ziko sawa, tuna believe tuko ready ku start league. Expectations zetu kama club kama KCB ni none other than going to win the league and the cup. So na believe na training coach anatupea na prayer na guidance ya God. Na believe tuko ready sana, tuko na timu yenye za go kwa hizo vitu zote.
Kwa mchezo wetu wa Ijumaa dhidi ya FC Leopards, nadhani tayari ni mchezo mgumu, lakini mchezo mwenyewe inatia motisha. Yani mechi yenyewe inapewa wachezaji motisha kwa sababu tayari ina-inspire kuko kwenye mchezo huo. Walikuwa na mchezo wao wa kwanza. Nadhani kidogo wanakuwa na advantage kwa sababu wamekosoa kitu ambao waliona katika mchezo wao wa kwanza dhidi ya Talanta. Kwetu sisi itakuwa mchezo wetu wa kwanza, lakini siwezi kutoa kwamba hiyo ni sababu ya sisi kutofanya vizuri. Nadhani kuongezeka kwa wachezaji wageni wameleta pia motisha kwa timu. Nadhani hizo nafasi zote tumekuwa covered vizuri katika defense, midfield na attacking.
And Vihiga Queens have finished 4th at the 2023 CAF Women's Champions League CECAFA Zone A qualifiers after falling by a solitary goal to Buja Queens in the 3rd place playoff earlier today. Anyone watching the match would have easily confused it for a Kenyan Women Premier League encounter, with the Burundian side boasting of 5 Kenyans in the start team and 3 on the bench. The Charles Okere-led side had to battle it out in the 3rd place playoffs after falling to CBE FC 2-1 in the semis to reverse the result of the 2021 final in Nairobi when Vihiga won by the same scoreline. That's how we close shop tonight on Newswatch. Thank you for your company throughout this newscast. I have been your anchor, Melissa Odwar. Monica Cheng has been on the sign language tonight. Have a blessed night.